as you've seen on your screen, the question is, what are you doing to keep sane while you are in self-isolation, working from home, having more time with the family? Some good could kind of come of it, and sometimes it could be triggered to, you know, conflict or some other friction in the home. Some people, while I would like to know what you think, so I'll be sampling your views as we go on, but I would like to know from Benjamin Zulu, what are you doing, Benjamin, to keep sane right now?
Okay, Trix. For me, what I do this time is to keep moving, keep the momentum.
But how? Indoors?
Okay, I study, I learn, I still work from home. I use the mobile phones, I do sessions on phone. So I think the best advice I can give anyone is to, as a human being, your psychology depends on a sense of control, that you are still in charge. There are two things that this lockdown and corona brought. One is higher stress levels. Some people are losing income, others are facing uncertainty. They are hearing their colleagues losing their jobs. They are hearing people being retrenched, you know, companies closing down, or you're being told there is no salary for the next so many months. So that uncertainty is very disturbing for most people.
Right.
And then the other problem this thing has brought is change. Other people are being forced to change, and they were used to stability. They were used to to getting a steady income. Some people had loans, they have rents to pay, they have things to pay. So those two things, higher stress levels and then forced change. The change is being forced on us. Yeah. Those are the major problems.
And I think the other day, Michael did point out that one of the very certain things about life is change. So how would you say that accepting that there is a change is one of the gateway into now dealing with the, you know, avalanche of issues that are coming out of COVID-19's period? The
problems are two. Thank you for that question. The problems are two. We have said we are having forced change and also high stress levels.
Yes.
The solutions are also two. Number one, you need a flexibility, an accepting attitude that if I cannot control what is happening, then I can adjust to it. You need, number two, you need high creativity. So we have said you need flexibility and you need creativity. Perhaps this period of change is showing you another direction you can take.
Yes.
We cannot deny it's uncertain times. So do not look for complete comfort.
Right.
I saw one clip, people are trending around. One pastor was bashing mshirika wake alipomwambia niombe business yangu iko sawa. Kamwambia biashara zote ziko sawa. Why are you asking? People are just making fun of it. But what we are saying is the old order might not remain. Don't try to go back to where you used to be. That place does not exist anymore. The order is not as it was. The best way at this time is to look forward. And Trix, one time somebody contrasted, said our fathers were asked to go out carrying guns to war.
Yes.
We are being asked to stay in the house.
I know, right?
This is not good. We know it's uncomfortable. But if you compare it to the guy who was taught to go to the
battlefield.
The battlefield, if you compare the two of us, I think he said our ancestors would be disappointed. They say that they were being asked to leave their homes and go to war.
Yes.
We are being asked to stay in the home and avoid the spread. And we are still... So the thing is, although it's uncomfortable, like for men especially, you know, I know for ladies it's also hard, but for men it's especially hard. We are not used to being in the house 12 hours. Those are too many hours to be in the house. You get irritable, you lose control. And again, you stay at home and you get to see how things are used, how the shopping you did is being spent. People are taking tea 3 times, you know. Wamekunywa asubuhi saa 5 umeona wamerudia chai imepikwa nyingine saa 7, you get to complain. There was one guy who bought a packet of milk and the following day akaitishwa maziwa akasema, but I bought yesterday and it was 1 packet ya 50 bob. Sema nimenunua. So some men are staying at home and seeing things that have not been very witnessing. But I was telling men that one way we can easily adapt what is going on is become a part of it. Don't remain an observer watching from outside. At the kids, this is what happens. I don't know what happens is this. I suggest you get inside what is going on. Become part of it. Begin to play with the kids. Involve their conversations. Just have your own time to work. When you leave, if you have to leave in the morning and you come in the evening, despite everything that is changing, become part of their lives. Now that kids are at home longer than we are used to seeing them around. One way we can do it is to observe them now closer. Try to build a friendship then. Try to have a conversation. Try to get how they think. So despite the two major problems, there's the person who faces this period with flexibility. flexibility and a readiness to adjust, to have a fluidity, a softness inside that will take advantage of the new order. Naturally, tricks, any person who is rigid, I usually give people two examples of a sugarcane and the reed. That reed that grows on the river and it is soft. But sugarcane is tough, it has joints. Let's say it has a toughness. So when there was rain and then water came flowing in the river, the sugarcane is tough, it did not bend. So it has a lot of, it has water subsided and the rain stopped, the reed stood up. For having been soft and flexible, it survived. But the sugarcane, for being rigid and tough, it was carried away.
I'll have to cut you short, and of course to give us more insights on this and how practically you can actually try and do things to stay sane and productive while at home. Michael Gitonga is joining us from his home. Michael, what do you have for us?
Benjamin, makes a good case, and it's true. Some of the things he's saying, you just have to become very innovative and creative to ensure that the lockdown does not work to your negative. But I'm joined here by my two sons, and they're of age, so they're going to introduce themselves and possibly just, give us their insight as to how this lockdown has worked out for them, and of course starting with homeschooling and all that. But I'll start first of all by maybe just asking the one to my left to introduce himself.
Good morning. I'm Jerome Sean.
Could tell us your age?
I'm 18.
18.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning. I'm Shalom.
Hold
Kimani.
it closer so that we can hear you.
Good morning. I'm Shalom Kimani. I'm 16.
Okay, so maybe let me start with you, Shalom. What have you done differently now that we're on a lockdown? Now that you're not able to go out and do the things that you used to do before, like your cycling and all that?
With all my free time, I've taken up an instrument. I've tried guitar. Maybe I'm considering learning a new language, but I haven't decided yet.
Wait, where new language? Which one are you planning on learning?
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Maybe Spanish. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but so far I've tried up a new instrument, caught up on my series, my movies. That's what I've been up to.
Okay. Let me hear from Jerome. At least some of this information by there I'm getting now. I didn't even know particularly like the series. But anyway, Jerome, what have you been up to, with the lockdown?
I picked up the guitar again, caught up on my schoolwork, focused more on studying. Yeah, and that's about it.
Okay, and maybe regarding your guitar, because I know you were doing your guitar before and kind of, let it gather some rust, but now you've picked it up. Is it because of boredom? More time, or what was it?
Boredom.
Boredom.
Yeah,
okay.
Boredom.
What other things, would you have loved to do should you not have had this restrictive, movement?
Well, definitely I used to get out a bit more. Go watch a couple movies here and there, a couple new releases. Yeah, so I'd want to go back to doing that.
Okay. So one of the things, obviously, that we're not able to do that we were doing before is possibly once in a while on a Friday we'd probably, look for a big screen movie to go and watch as a family. So that's not possible. So we've had to look for ways to do that. But another area that, of course, has had a huge hit is the education sector. But fortunately, if I may say that, for us, we had already engaged in homeschooling. Jerome, how is homeschooling for you?
I find it a lot better than the normal mainstream school, because then you get to focus a bit more on the teachers, extra time, you work at your own pace, and then again you're at home. So this is not really, you don't start too early, you don't finish too late.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the areas I know many parents out there and children probably are concerned about is the social aspect. Because with homeschooling, you're at home. I mean, you're seeing dad, you're seeing mom, you're seeing your brother. As in, literally, you just have the same people around. How do you go about your social, well-being?
For starters, we're not alone. We're about 8 to 10 of us over here. And on top of that, we have regular homeschool trips, school trips, where all the homeschoolers in Nairobi meet together and go for one school trip. Every Wednesday we have Bible study up the road. So there's those functions we go to.
Do you miss, going to school, like class, the normal class and all that?
No, not really. There's not much difference anyway, because I went to a small school anyway, so It's about the same number.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Shalom, your handling of homeschooling or your take on homeschooling?
Homeschooling is way better than normal school because you work at your own pace. You can have dedicated time from the teacher because you're not that many. She can dedicate your time to you if you're stuck somewhere. And also you can, if you're not feeling like going past, because even if you go till the desired time you're supposed to stop, you don't do much work because maybe you beat for the day, you can stop right there and start fresh the next day. So I prefer homeschooling because you can structure it yourself to what you prefer and how you work, instead of having to do the way that it was put for everyone else in general.
Okay. Now, one of the changes that has come through with, restricted movement is that you guys are not now, you don't have access to your teachers, not teacher, what do you call them? Supervisor, yeah, your supervisor. I need to remember. So you are literally getting supervised by your mom. How is that going?
I mean, it's okay. It's okay.
You can say how it is. I can read this.
No, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you? Would you prefer a supervisor who's different, or you're okay with mom supervising?
I mean, I
Please
would.
She might be watching upstairs, eh?
I would prefer a different supervisor, but mom is okay.
She's doing well.
Yes.
Okay, Jerome, your take.
I didn't mind the one we had before.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what's the difference? I mean, why is it easier maybe to have not one of your parents supervising you? Or why would you prefer a different supervisor as opposed to your parent?
I was comfortable with the one we had before. A lot comfortable with him, yeah. So we'd worked together for a really long time, a couple of years actually before I started homeschooling. He was still my teacher. So I was more comfortable working with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Shalom, you mentioned, I know one of the things that you're also doing with your extra time is your love for cycling and your wheelies. Tell us a little bit about how now, having this restricted movement time, how that has helped you grow that talent or that love.
Since the restrictions, I've had a lot of free time. So I've been practicing my wheelies and slowly getting better at them. And with all this free time I should be.
How do you measure your better?
Distance. Mostly I do distance. If I can do it for maybe 100 meters today, maybe by the end of maybe 2 weeks, I'm now doing 200. I consider it progress.
Okay. And for those of you who maybe would want to see those wheelies, if time allows, we shall try and, get to somewhere where he can do that. Literally, he's on one wheel for how long?
My longest, I think, is maybe 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
I'm not sure how many meters those are.
Okay. Jerome, one of the other areas, of course, that's affected is attendance of church. We mentioned, going to watch movies and all that, but it's social gatherings, one of them being church. Your take maybe on online church. Would you prefer, online church or, church as you knew it before?
Online works just fine for me. Yeah, online works just fine.
Is that because you don't have to wake up early?
Yes, it's mostly that, yeah.
Okay, so Shalom, for you?
Yeah, online also works, but also the waking up early thing. And also I don't have to go too far.
Okay.
Go to church.
And literally, you just have to come downstairs.
Yeah, just come downstairs.
And that's it. Yeah. All right. So generally, that's what we're doing. I don't know if you have any questions from your end, Trix or Benjamin. Anything you'd want to weigh in to do. I'll try and see whether, if time allows, Shalom can show us some of his wheelies. But yeah, if there are any questions, you're free to ask them.
Actually, Michael, I wanted to ask for a demonstration of the guitar playing and maybe those wheelies. But of course, thankfully, you've actually gone into that. So I'll just be waiting in anticipation to see the kind of talent you're harboring at home. But that was a great interview and on how we can be creative or at home with our kids. And
before you go, Trix, their mom refused to be part of this, but anyway, she's just not into cameras and all that. But she's also learning the keyboard.
Oh, wonderful.
And maybe I'll try and see whether I can convince her to, play us a few chords. But yeah, let me see what we can get scrubbed up as we come back. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's very actually informative and on how to creatively spend time at home. It's not always a matter of socializing. Sometimes you can actually have some me time and make it educative like Mike and his family is doing. Now, over to you, Biko. My concern would be how would families that maybe cannot afford the internet, Benjamin, cannot afford the internet or, cannot get access to instruments and what have you, how would they go about this time of self-isolation?
All right, Trix. One of the things that matters to every young person, irrespective of what is available at home or what is not available, it's your passion. Your passion, luckily for you, is inbuilt inside of you. Those activities that excite you, that include those things that when you do them, you forget everything else going around you. There's a natural flow. Is it drawing? Is it riding a bike? Is it playing a ball? Is it for Isaac Newton? Isaac Newton, he was in 1665. He was about to graduate from the university.
Right.
Then the Black Plague broke out. There was a plague.
Yes.
And the deaths were horrific, and the students were sent home. It lasted for 20 months. Hopefully ours will be shorter.
Yes.
But while they were at home, their students were brooding. Some went mad with boredom. You know, there was so much scare. But Isaac carried books to go continue questions of physics and mathematics he had been struggling with. So he carried books and immersed himself in the work. Right. Can you imagine for those 20 months, he did not think anything about fear or death. He was immersed in his passion. I want to invite all young people. This could be the best period you have. Remember, I used to like playing the guitar when I was young, like Michael's son there. So I would play it into the night, and they have to look for me and drag me to bed. You know, I used to like listening to songs and materials and books and things. Sometimes I would read books that are so far ahead of me. I read set books when I was in primary school. These were set books for high school.
Yes.
I read so many of them. So whatever passion you have been having, this is the best time. Do you know Isaac Newton at that time, essentially, he finally invented, he finally went through, he answered all the questions, and he was able to set foundation for algebra, mechanics, and optics. Right. In fact, those 20 months, although they were very horrific for the rest of the world, it has come, that 20 months have come to be regarded as the most concentrated period of scientific thinking in history. Because the guy began to contemplate gravity. Those are the time he invented. Maybe this time for you can be a very different thing. From home there. If it's drawing, go start drawing. Go practicing your thing. It could be something that you hardly get time for it. Could it be an instrument? Could it be? So that passion you feel, whatever it is, I want to invite you from home there. Especially, I was a country boy, and at home we have more spaces. You have space to run, you have space to play, you have space to do things. You know, the city people don't understand when you talk about the expanse space at home. If you're coming from home or even in the city or somewhere, that passion you have, this is a time to immerse yourself in it. In fact, you will know you are doing what you are created to do when you don't realize time passing. You start doing it, and before you realize it, it's past. Hours have passed, and people are telling you you've been here for long, but you can't even tell. That thing that carries your way. Another thing that you can use this period for is skills you know you need, but you don't have them. For example, some people are very good in IT. They've been trying now to learn how to program, or maybe they've been using their phone to do something, or they've been practicing. It's running. Maybe you're an athlete. You've been waking up very early now. You're doing your practice. You're doing your sit-ups. You're doing your things. But you also realize you needed to refine a language, because even if you're running, you will not just run in Kenya. What if you go abroad and you need to run? Yes. One of our athletes, after he won, he was interviewed and he embarrassed us because he would not construct his sentences, and he didn't know that he didn't know. Nothing. Ignorance hides you from knowing that you're ignorant.
Yeah.
You know, another skill that you need to go along with your passion, but you don't have it now. Could be refining a language, could be learning how to do something else. How about now start trying to learn that thing? There's another thing you can use: mentorship. Some of the senior guys have been looking for to talk to you. Okay. They have been too busy. Now they have
the time. That is true.
You can call them on the phone. You can discuss with them. I remember a time I ambushed an engineer, an avionics engineer. I wanted to know so much about life. He was so experienced, but he was always busy. So one time just showed up in his house at 7 p.m. You know, we started talking from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. continually. When you are so thirsty, your mentors will be motivated to talk to you. Okay. Your teachers are more available now. Look for them. Yeah. Call them up. Check them out. And social media, Facebook now is almost everywhere. Most people can access it. I want to ask you not to use Facebook to meander, to pass time, to scroll carelessly. In fact, I encourage young people, if you have a passion, reduce the number of friends you have. You can unfollow and friend them, but increase the pages and the groups you belong to, those which talk about the subjects you're looking for, because pages usually have a subject. Let's say you have a passion in something, and then you look for guys who talk about it. You are trying to learn Spanish maybe, or you're trying to learn football maybe, or you're trying to learn something, drawing, you know, you're trying to learn singing, you're trying to refine a craft, you know, gym, you know. We have had kids who have gone all over this world for just being being good in gymnasiums, you know. I want to ask you to go now, start looking for those groups online, pages online, reduce people you are following. You know, sometimes people post things that don't help you. As if when they are eating their food, how will that build you, really?
Right. Well, Benjamin, I mean, it's also important to note that the internet is not synonymous to social media. So there are very many ways of benefiting from the internet that are not social media. So is it important to actually, maybe if this is the only way you can get out of your room through the internet, is it important to section your time, or maybe create some sort of format in which at this time I'll be on social media, at this time I'll be on, let's say, some of these more educative platforms like channels on YouTube or Skillshare or even TEDx. How can you approach it so that you don't spend your whole day having your eyeballs glued to screens and then falling into the loopholes of bullying and stalking and all the things we have seen in the past few weeks?
That's a very good question. The internet is as wide as the world itself. You know, it's called worldwide. For
sure.
It's all wide. Now, what you need to know is this. Not everybody who is on the internet is learning, and not everybody is growing.
Yes.
Many are meandering there. The same way we are all in the city, we could be in the same place, but we are doing different things. This is how your mind works. And I want you to learn to work with the grain of your mind. The internet and the social media, or even the phone, has brought this illusion that you can get all the information you want at the click of a button.
Yeah.
The truth is, there before, people used to calculate using their fingers, with their minds, so their minds were doing exercise like calculating or remembering directions.
Absolutely.
Today, calculators and maps have been available for free. So our minds have become very lazy because they're dependent on gadgets. I want to ask you to do the following. Because your mind was built to work with intensity, not extensity.
Okay.
Avoid the temptation of switching from one subject to another when you're online. Switching from this to the other, and if you're meandering from one, glossing over the surface, you never get deep, so you never learn. I want to ask you to get one decide I'm going online to check what? Skillshare, for example. Which topic? Emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Which topic? Mathematics. Which topic? How to build a small business.
Right.
Which topic? How to jobs abroad. Look for a topic that you're interested. Set some time, let's say 1 hour or 2 hours. I have 2 hours now. I want to study between 8 a.m. and 8 a.m. You can even set alarm if you want. Control your time and make sure you go deep in that subject and take practical notes. It's very important to type notes or to write notes. When you are writing, you process. But if you're only glossing with your eyes, you could be deceiving yourself. But there's a difference between reading and learning. You can be reading, but you're not learning.
Absolutely.
To learn means to understand, to comprehend, to add to your knowledge. So when you go online, when you go using internet or even social media, make sure even if it's YouTube, there is a topic, there's a line of flow. And when you see another topic by the side which you're interested, you can save it to follow it up on it, to follow up on it later. Now, there's a childlike tendency, a restlessness, a lack of focus, a lack of self-control, which you must, because it's which you must manage, because it is that the internet keeps popping up, suggest the topic, suggest the direction to take, so that if you can meander for hours and watching things that are not related to what you're coming here to look for, and you will end up doing nothing. So when you start in the morning, when your day starts in the morning, I encourage you strongly, when you wake up in the morning, plan that day. What do you want to do today? Remember the cliche that failing to plan is planning to fail? It is a point that unless you plan ahead what you're planning to do, that time will be wasted. That time will just be drifting away. Internet has the deception of making you think you're busy because you're glossing from topic to topic. But your mind works depth, intensity, focus, stability. It must build idea upon idea upon idea. It's not breadth, but depth.
Okay, so get deeper and not deep into rabbit holes, but you know, into certain concepts and topics and whatever you need to learn, focus and you know, go after it. Now, there's certain triggers that will happen to the human mind when we are isolated or when we're experiencing change that is uncomfortable and causing us stress. And unfortunately, during this self-isolation period, we have had reports of increased cases of conflict in the domestic environment and, you know, domestic violence or gender-based violence. So I would like you to go into the possible triggers of this. Why now? Why is this increasingly being reported by various organizations and the media?
One big problem, Trix, is that some relationships were already fragile even before Corona. They were barely making it. They were on ICU.
Yeah.
They were on life support.
Okay.
Some relationships, see, Corona imeharibu.
Yeah.
They were on their deathbed. We were in denial. Actually, some people go away to work to avoid each other. And they come late wapate shida imelala.
Their coping mechanisms.
Wakati mwingine shida inawangoja ilali. There's a guy ulizwa mbona wewe nyumbani akasema nangoja shida ilale. So regarding your partner is a shida. Yeah. So sometimes it's not, corona was just a trigger. They say the straw that broke the camel's back. You can't break camel's back with a straw. It was about to break. Yes. You just triggered it. So if your relationship was already on the edge, hanging here and there, this period of stress now could explode it. What I encourage us is to avoid denial. Because especially, listen to me, ladies, munapenda matumaini sana. You love hope. You know, I'm keeping hope. And many of you use prayer as denial. I'm praying, believing God. Me, I tell people this. Yes, I'm a psychologist, I'm a life coach. But I'll listen to your problems only once. Next time we'll talk about solutions. Yeah. I'm not here to brood with you. As I told you last time, I'm still there. Where? I'm not staying there with you. Can you wake up and move? So for me, I want to invite us to be realistic. I want to invite you to be an ideal real. I want you to be a realist. I want you to make yourself so attuned with what is going on. I tell people, although marriage is a commitment, commitment does not mean a promise. Some people commit for better, for worse, but they don't mean it. They don't know what they're saying. Some of them are too young, or they were too drunk, they were just looking, they just wanted to have you, they wanted social status, but they're not committed to it. So every day assess where you are. Now, Corona, tumesema number one, this lockdown is more detrimental to relationships that were already weak. Number two, it is bringing fakeness away. There are people who have been pretending. They are not themselves.
On that note, Benjamin, I'm going to interrupt you. Your passionate takedown of the triggers of some of these conflicts in the domestic environment. But we're going to take a short break. When we come back,